Welcome back to Echo Base Network. I'm the coach, and we've got Nick here, and we've also got our special guest for the night, our brother over at Valhalla, Loki. How are you guys doing, guys?
I still have no camera, and I'm audio only.
Doing great. I'm here. We've got some great news coming up. That's going to be awesome.
We got a great, I don't know what the word would be. There's some big news happening in the world of Mandalorian. We're going to jump into that right now, and we will be right back. Ahsoka might lead the Mandalorian to an even more exciting Jedi. Ahsoka's appearance in The Mandalorian Season 2 is possibly the most hyped in Star Wars history. Ever since it was announced Dave Filoni would be working on the series, there's been fan speculation over it if he might introduce his most beloved creation, Ahsoka Tano. These rumors were stoked even further by the leaked casting of Rosario Dawson and finally fulfilled in The Mandalorian Chapter 11 by Bo-Katan. The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 5 title is reportedly The Jedi, but maybe that's not referring to Ahsoka at all. A tantalizing new fan theory has us convinced that the ex-Jedi may just be a bridge to an even more famous Star Wars character. What separates Ahsoka from pretty much every other character in The Mandalorian? She actually knew the original Yoda. So when Ahsoka meets Baby Yoda, her first instinct will likely be to bring the child to Dagobah, where she believes Yoda is still hanging out after going into exile at the end of the Clone Wars. That's where things get really interesting. Redditor, the mediocre critic, argues that Ahsoka will take Baby Yoda and Mando to Dagobah. They won't find Yoda, but Ahsoka will sense another Force-sensitive being on the planet. That person? Luke Skywalker. Luke's post-Return of the Jedi fate is murky, so it's very possible he traveled to the planet where he truly became a Jedi before creating his own Jedi Academy and eventually going into self-exile on Ahch-To. Luke could help Ahsoka train Baby Yoda and possibly give tips to Mando as he continues on his quest to stop Moff Gideon. The most exciting part of this theory is the possibility of Luke learning about his dad as Anakin Skywalker the Jedi Master, not Anakin the fallen Padawan or Darth Vader. Nobody knows that version of Anakin better than Anakin's old Padawan, Ahsoka. And she could tell Luke all about his dad's past and the adventures she had with him. All right, boys, we're back. And let's just have a discussion here. Mandalorian, everybody's been hyped about Ahsoka. What if this actually happens and we get our hero, Luke Skywalker? Loki, we're going to start with you.
Well, we know that Moff Gideon has tagged the Razor Crest, and we know he is going to be tracking that and trying to find other Force users. If Ahsoka were to go head-to-head with what we believe is the Dark Troopers and fights Moff Gideon, maybe even gets the dark saber from him at the end of this episode, and they make their way to Dagobah, would Luke get the dark saber? Would Mandalorian keep the dark saber? Would Ahsoka keep the dark saber? There's so many questions. I want to see Luke jumping around on Dagobah with a little Yoda on his back, teaching little baby Yoda how to use the Force.
That would be cool.
That is what we all wanted to see. That is what we all wanted to see in The Last Jedi when we saw the picture of Daisy Ridley on the back of Luke, and it's training time. We saw that picture and we were like, ooh, yeah. And everybody thought she is climbing the steps to ascend to the Kung Fu Master, the top of the mountain, to learn from the Master, the Shaolin Master, how to use the Force. We all wanted to see that, and we never got that. It was completely ripped and taken away from us. If we get that in The Mandalorian, I will say it now, Star Wars is back.
That's a really good point, Loki. Nick, I think that a lot of fans would think that if we get any type of Luke Skywalker cast in a heroic position, this would be healing for the Star Wars universe. What do you think?
100%, absolutely. I mean, I will be happier than a pig in poop if Luke comes back, and it's post Return of the Jedi Luke, to where he still looks, mostly the same as he did by the end of Jedi.
He's going to be 28 years old at this time. He was 23 in Jedi, and right now Mandalorian is 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so he's still young. He is officially a Jedi now, and he's probably learned a whole lot more in that 5-year time span. So to see him come back and get the Luke that we never got in the sequel trilogy would be huge. I really hope they do it. I know this isn't officially confirmed. This is speculation and rumor, but man, what a way for them to go in the show and to kind of start the correction process from the sequel trilogy and what they did to Luke there. If they do it, obviously I hope they do it well and it's not cringe or, I don't know. I'll honestly be very surprised if this actually happens, but it would be so good for Disney and the show to bring so many more people back into it, because you still have those fans out there that are done with Disney and they're not watching The Mandalorian. They didn't watch it last season and they're not watching it right now because they're pretty much done. If the hype of Luke coming back and being the Luke that everybody wanted, I think that'll draw a lot of people back in and get a lot of people interested.
How did you guys feel when you read this article and it talked about Luke is on Dagobah training? This is after the death of Yoda. This is after the Republic victory, or the Rebellion victory, rather, against the Empire at the Battle of Endor. So he is on Dagobah at this time, and he's actually there with the Force ghost of his father.
Oh, God, that would be awesome. If Hayden Christensen, which I know a lot of people are not a fan of, but if he came back as a Force ghost and was talking to Luke, and if Mando and Baby Yoda were there, oh, man, I'm getting chill bumps thinking about it.
Me too.
I mean, that would be so awesome to see.
What if you got Obi-Wan? What if you got Obi-Wan? What if you got Yoda? What if you've got Anakin? What if they could have anybody there. You could have the entire former Jedi Council here and there in little pieces talking to him, teaching him.
Yeah.
You know what the problem with it's going to be? To create such a scene, it's going to bring the pain of the sequel trilogy back even more. Because we're going to get our hero, and he's going to be heroic again. He's going to be Luke Skywalker. But ultimately,
I'll be so hyped about that scene that I won't even think about the sequel trilogy at all. I mean, I will be living in that moment right then and there.
I'm with you. I agree too. And I'm at the point, guys, where I'm like, I'm starving for it. Just give me one scene. Just give me one right now.
But I do understand what you're saying. Like seeing that, saying, God, why did we not get something like this in the sequel trilogy? Why are they doing it now? Well, they would be doing it now because they know they jacked it all up before, and now they're trying to go back and fix it. I mean, even Doomcock himself is more hopeful for Star Wars in the direction it's going than Star Trek. So, I mean, if everything that's going on can change his mind, and he was hardcore done with Disney, then I mean, I think a lot of people's minds will end up getting changed if they end up doing that. And I really hope they do. I would be ecstatic if they did that.
If you believe the rumors about Pedro Pascal, if you do believe the rumors about what's going on, he went to Jon Favreau. He went to Dave Filoni. He talked to George Lucas. But the one person he knew better than to go and talk about his grievances to was Kathleen Kennedy. if you believe those rumors, that he went to all the heads, all the showrunners, all the people involved with this and talked about, why can't I have more time with my helmet off? And the one person he didn't go to because he knew better than to go to them was Kathleen Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
There is something massive going on at Lucasfilms. There has been what do they call it in the sequel trilogy? A divergence in the Force.
Oh, it's so funny you say that. Because that word is actually going to come up in another article that we looked at. But I didn't share this one with you guys. Over at WeGotThisCovered.com, they just came out with this 2 hours ago. They say they are hearing from sources, inside sources that they will not name, that the show's next major arc will be Din Djarin attempting to track down Luke Skywalker. We just covered that, but here's why. According to their intel, Mando will need a Jedi to help him harness Baby Yoda's Force powers, and Ahsoka won't be capable of doing it herself, although she's definitely heard of someone who can. The Mandalorian takes place roughly 5 years after Return of the Jedi and over 2 decades before The Force Awakens. So at this point in the timeline, Luke would not have exiled himself, having given up on training the next generation. So what do you guys think about that's main story? They're bringing Luke Skywalker in to the main story with the child.
Yeah,
This isn't a side mission.
Yeah, I'm curious on how big of a part this is all going to play, because this could just be another cameo or part that's like a small part of the overall story, but it would be a great small side part. But if they did bring it in and put it into the main story to where Luke was actually in several episodes and with all that going on, sign me up right now. I'd be all for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Ahsoka, and don't hate me, anybody watching this, I know what you're going to say. You blasphemy, Loki. Ahsoka is not a Jedi.
No, she is not.
Ahsoka made that very clear. She walked away from the Order.
She's only a Padawan.
That's right. There are things Ahsoka is not going to know, and Ahsoka does not have the ability to talk to Force Ghosts. She does not know how to do that. Obi-Wan was able to stretch out to Luke because of their connection. Yoda was able to stretch out to Luke even in the sequel trilogy, but this is all things that they had to learn. Yoda had to teach Obi-Wan how to do that.
Right.
And Yoda exiled himself to Dagobah because of the huge and overpowering influence of that dark side cave. It hid him.
Right.
It hid him from the view of the Emperor and Vader. So Ahsoka does not have the full capabilities of a Jedi Knight or a Jedi Master. So there's going to be things she does not know how to do. That makes sense to me.
And I mentioned it on our live stream the other day when we were talking Mandalorian. My vision for the end of this season is a Moff Gideon-led resurging empire with shadow troopers at his side, and they are the biggest threat that the galaxy has seen. They are wiping out the New Republic, and the only hope for the galaxy is an army of Mandalorians with Ahsoka and a heroic Luke Skywalker by their side.
It would be epic.
Yeah.
That would be as good as the original trilogy in my mind.
Yeah, that would be, man. See, I really hope that all this is true. But if it's not, just saying if it's not, I mean, how could they not end up hearing about this some way and say, man, that's awesome, and actually end up doing it at some point in time, even if it's not this season.
I'm telling you.
But if they are actually doing it and that is something that's going to happen, man, Star Wars is going to blow right back up. If it's done right and if it's done well.
You guys remember, of course you remember episode 2. Do you remember the first time you saw the clones?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you know about the Mandalorians then?
Very little.
Okay. I knew what they had. And as soon as I saw them and realized what they were doing, you've got an army of people that used to fight and win against the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
You have an army that almost brought the old Republic to its knees and fought the Jedi and killed Jedi. That is the capabilities of the old Mandalorians. The abilities to fight Jedi to almost a standstill. The Beskar armor could block lightsaber attacks. The Beskar armor that the Mandalorian himself wears is almost invulnerable to lightsabers.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, yes. That Beskar armor, it's like a shield against lightsabers. It's a shield against lasers. The Mandalorians used to plate their ships in that. Their Basilisk war droids were plated in Beskar so that if you hit them, you couldn't beat them. You could hit them with a proton torpedo and not take them out. In the EU, Boba Fett led a resurgence of Mandel motors and had a fleet of ships coated in Beskar armor, and they were like tanks. They were tanks. You could hit them with a proton torpedo, and they just shrugged it off.
Well, I hope you're listening, Disney, because we need some of that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome if they did that. Can you imagine if like all the X-wings in the New Republic were coated in Beskar armor, and they're going in to take on the remnants of the Empire? I mean, none of them would get shot down.
That is why the matriarch in that first season is so important. That is why she is the leader of that clan, because she knows how to forge Beskar plate.
Well, that's a good thought. This has been a really good little roundtable discussion. We're going to have to do this some more in the future, guys. This is really good. And everybody watching the video, please comment and let us know what you think about a possible resurgence, revolution, revival of Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars galaxy being in The Mandalorian. How awesome would that be? Maybe Disney's listening. We need Luke Skywalker. Ahsoka's great, but have them both together, wow, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yep.
Well, that's going to do it for us on this one, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And as always, I am the coach. He is Nick, and he is Stone Loki. You are Echo Base Network and Valhalla.
Valhalla. Yes, sir.
And we are out.
See y'all on the next one.
Later, guys.